The difficulty is to go forwards beyond causality in the strict scientific work, beyond the modern concept of causality, which is probability, and to really define it severely and strictly without rejecting all what modern physics has found out and place it in there. That's the difficulty. To live with synchronicity, to joke about it, to watch it is very easy. You must only let the primitive man come up in you, and he does it at once. He understands synchronicity like anything. Or Chinese people or Japanese people, they understand synchronicity like that. And once Miyuki told me after a lecture I had, on synchronicity, thank you for explaining synchronicity, because for the first time I've understood causality. You know, I have always, when you spoke about causality in the West, I thought it was synchronicity. And now by you making the difference, I've seen that I've misunderstood it. And synchronicity to me is self-evident. I understand self-evidently. The causality was what I missed out. And by you contrasting the two, you have for the first time taught me causality. But that's the difficult. And you see, Jung always thought, since he knew the I Ching, he meditated on synchronicity. But he said the difficulty of writing the paper on synchronicity is to make it palatable for modern physics and for the modern sciences.
What do you, in your book, you talk about two aspects, and I'm trying to understand it. Acausal orderedness and creation in time.
Yes. That is not, I'm not talking about that. That's in the end of Jung's synchronicity paper. There he says, acausal orderedness is a just so order which has no cause. That would be, for instance, radioactive decay. You cannot say why it takes so and so much time for uranium to halve into lead. You can only say that's a just so story. It is so. It's an exact law. It's a law of nature. We can go on it. We can even date things according to it. But why it is that and not another number, we don't know. That is acausal orderedness. Now, that is not synchronicity. That's everywhere. Acausal orderedness is a widespread appearance in nature. And the same in the mind. For instance, 6 is a number where you can add 1, 2, 3 and you get 6, or you can multiply 1 times 2 times 3 and you get 6. It's the only number where you can do that. Now, if you say why, you can't give a cause. You can only say it is obviously so. Our mind functions so. Even the greatest idiot will have to admit it is so. Because our mind is structured to believe it is so. But we can't give a cause. We can't explain it further. So there is acausal orderedness in the mind, in the psyche, of which numbers are the natural numbers are beautiful examples, and there's acausal orderedness in physics. And those would be all certain numerical laws. Or for instance, why is the light speed that much and not more or less? You can only say that light speed is that speed. But you cannot say why. So that is acausal orderedness. Now, synchronicity would be the same thing, but a creation in time, that something new happens in time. Well, let's say, let's invent a synchronistic event. Let's say I am going to a shop and I choose a blue frock and I have some changes made and they should send it next week. I lose in the meantime a near relative and when the box arrived, it's a black frock. Now, that's a synchronicity. It suits the theme of death and that I get by mistake a black frock instead of a blue frock. That's a so-called synchronistic event. Something which is purely in my inside, that I'm hit by the death of somebody, also appears in the outer world in this era of getting a black frog. That the death hasn't caused the saleswoman to send me a black frog. There's no causal connection. It's just a synchronicity. That has been created on the spot, so to speak, that event. That's not a regular event. You don't, every time you lose, your relatives get black things sent to you by mistake. You see? That's a unique event which will not repeat itself, very likely. So there, magical thinking would say a ghost made it or God made it. And then it's very simple. Magical thinking explains it quite clearly. So fate did it. But if you don't think in magical causality, fate did it, God did it, an imp did it, when you really try, then you say it is an act of creation in time. Now, I think if you read that book of Fritjof Capra, The Tower of Physics, there he explains the S matrix, and there he gives, there are four laws: the unchangeability of the position of the observer, the quantum mechanical relativity, causality, and the fourth, singularities. And by singularities, he means the creation of new particles, which is unpredictable, completely unpredictable. That would be an analogy to the idea of synchronicity. And it also breaks through causality, because you can, with the laws of the calcul of probability, you can predict everything else, but you cannot predict the creation of a new particle. When and how it will happen, you cannot predict. You cannot even within probability predict it. So that would be what the physicists call singularities, and synchronistic events are in a way like singularities.